Welcome to Kat Sara Yoga. I'm Kat and this is day 22 of 30 days of yoga. Release. This is a lovely class with some deep hip and leg stretches, and it might be nice to have a yoga belt if you have one, or you can use a scarf or a rolled up towel, something that's not stretchy. You don't have to have it, but it can be nice if you do. So take a moment if you want to go and get that, and I will see you on the mat. So we're going to come from our seated position to lying down today. So you can come into your mermaid position with feet on one side, and then on the other side using the strength of your arms to lower yourself down and then roll onto your back. Have your scarf or yoga belt handy if you're using one. And then from here, just allowing yourself to settle on your back, let your knees knock together, toes turn in, heels turn out. Arms can come down by your sides, palms up, or maybe resting your hands on your belly if you like. And just taking a few breaths here to settle. Nice rejuvenating breaths. Allowing the breath to flow in through its easiest path. And flow out again, feeling grounded. Just allow your exhalation to melt you a little more into the earth. And allow your inhalation to energize you. Keep the back of your neck long so your chin can be ever so slightly tucked in towards your chest so your head's not craning back. Long back of the neck. Breathe. And then letting your arms come down by your sides, palms up if they're not there already. Take another nice inhalation, wide and full into your chest. And exhale as you let your head roll over to one side, nice easy movement. Inhale back to center and exhale the other way. Inhale back to center, continuing on your breath. It's almost as if the movement is just riding on the breath. One more round each side of these gentle neck releases. Bring your head back to center, head, neck and spine all aligned. Turn your palms to face downwards, again checking shoulders are away from the ears. And if you've got your head resting on anything, just take that away so that the back of the head is directly on the floor and you have that little bit of space behind the back of your neck. Then parallel your feet, heel behind the widest part of the foot. Feet, knees and inner hip bones are all aligned. We're coming into a flowing bridge movement here to begin to warm up into the spine. So inhale as you tip your pelvis backwards and peel your hips off the mat. We don't have to come up very high here. This is the beginning of the class and we're warming up. Exhale, slowly lower down, lengthening your spine out along the mat. Inhale, tip your pelvis backwards, peel your spine off the mat. Just coming up a comfortable distance. Exhale, lengthen back down. Keep your face looking straight up towards the ceiling. Make sure you're not craning your head back. If you're going a bit further into the movement, then on your inhalation, you can begin to work your collarbone up towards your chin. But again, we're just warming up and I'm not really going that far into it right now. I'm just working with my lower back. Inhaling up. And exhaling, lowering and lengthening back down. One last time. As you come up, make sure that the knees don't roll in or out. Keep those aligned with the inner hips. Lengthen the spine down the mat. And then once your sacrum has come down to the floor, one at a time, draw your knees in and have a gentle rock side to side. Massaging out through the lower back and keeping your knees together, circling your knees. Just a few times in each direction. And then bring your left foot down to the floor. And then taking your right hand to the top of the right knee and your left hand to your left hip at the top. Circling this right knee, and you can just use your left hand to steady the hip. We want to keep the back of the pelvis nice and level and even on the floor, so you don't want your pelvis to be rocking wildly. But this is a nice relaxed movement here. We're just circling around. Let your breath flow. Face and jaw relaxed. If you want to feel a little bit more and your back feels okay, you can begin to straighten out this left leg. Flex the foot, straighten out the leg a bit, Check that your back hasn't arched away from the mat. We don't want that to happen. We want a nice neutral curve in the lower back, which means it might not be pressing into the mat because that lower back curve is naturally towards the front of your body, but it's not arching off the mat and your ribs are still drawn in. If you can straighten that leg out all the way, that's fine. You can keep that extended foot flexed, just spreading out the ball of the foot as if you could shine energy out through it, or you can relax the foot. So see what feels good for you. And we're just stirring the hip socket with the end of the thigh bone in this right hip. Let's circle the other way, breath flowing easy. I like to have a nice active foot in my extended leg, but you might be here. That actually feels a bit more comfortable for me as well. So you just want to look after your lower back. You want to feel comfortable in your lower back. And then bending your left knee, if you'd straightened it out, have the left foot flat on the mat, taking your hands to your right thigh and straightening your right leg up towards the ceiling. Flex the foot, clasp your hands behind the thigh and push out through your heel. Now you might want to use your scarf here if you've got one. So if you have got a scarf, with the knee bent in to start with, hook the scarf around the ball of your foot and then straighten up the leg. So then you can just hold your scarf or yoga belt. The belt is going around the ball of the foot and you're just drawing the ball of your foot towards you, sort of towards your forehead or maybe over your head, pushing the heel away. If you have got your right leg completely straight, you might not, but if it is completely straight and you do want a bit more challenge, a bit more of an intense stretch up the back of this right leg, then you can flex your left foot. You'll already feel that starting to create more challenge, more stretch intensity, and then you can work this leg straighter and straighter until the stretch is on the polite edge. So you don't want to be straining. You just want to feel that stretch is a challenge, an enjoyable challenge. For me, I'm actually completely fine here. I have just about got my legs straight, but I would say it's on the polite edge at the moment. Breathe into the stretch. If you do straighten out your left leg, keep the left foot flexed, shining energy out through the ball of the foot. As you hold this stretch for a bit, you will feel the muscle releasing, and you might be able to take steps to intensify it again. So as I feel this stretch releasing, as I feel the hamstring releasing, the calf muscle releasing, I can then flex my left foot and maybe work that leg a bit straighter until I'm there on the polite edge of my stretch again, drawing the ball of the foot towards my head. Then from here, taking your left hand to steady the left hip and working your right leg out to the side. So you'll feel that stretch more in the hamstring, maybe inner thighs, in inner edges of the hamstring, inner fibers of the hamstrings. Keep this left hip down, and you can use your hand to help you with that. Relax face and jaw, shoulders away from the ears. If you haven't got a yoga belt there, just using your right hand to support your right thigh and your left hand, just placing it on top of the left hip to keep that pelvis nice and level. And this, how far you go into this will be different for every person. You might be going further than me, you might be going not as far. Just feeling that stretch on the polite edge, not letting your head flop back, chin gently drawn, tucked in, just gently. And then we're drawing this leg across the midline of the body. So I'm really not going far here. Feeling that down now, the outer fibers of the hamstrings in the backs of the leg, in the back of the right leg. And if you haven't got a yoga belt, just using both hands to support the thigh. And remember, this left leg, you can have the foot flat on the floor, you could have it all the way straight, or somewhere in between with the foot flexed. Face and jaw relaxed. If you can remember your Ujjayi breath from day 12, maybe use that here. Slowing down the circle of breath. Building a little bit of warmth and heat in the body to help melt away tension. Good, and then coming back to center. So left foot flat on the mat again if it wasn't there already. Draw your right knee in, you can drop your belt down. Take your right hand to the outside edge of your right foot and shine the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling in a half happy baby pose. You're working your right knee down towards your right armpit. And again, you can, if you want more intensity, flex your left foot and work that left leg straighter and straighter. You'll feel the stretch intensifying in the right hamstring area. Nice spread out, relaxed toes. So sort of spread the ball of the foot, but relax the toes. Good. Feel as though your tailbone is descending down towards the foot of the mat. So bending your left leg, left foot flat on the mat. Draw your right knee in, hug both knees in. Gently rock side to side, and again, circling the knees. Come back to center. Inhale, circle your knees away from each other. Exhale them in towards each other. 3 in each direction here. And the other way. Inhale away. Exhale towards. Last round, and bringing your knees together. Give them a hug. Bring your right foot down and just placing the right hand to the top of the right hip. Relax the left foot and circling this left knee. Just really relaxed movement, not letting the pelvis tip. And you can use your right hand to help steady the pelvis. So we're just doing a few in each direction here. Nice easy circles. Change directions if you haven't already. Keep that right hip nice and steady. And if you want to extend the right leg, flexing the right foot, an appropriate amount of extension of that leg for your body, that's fine. Inhale as you circle away, exhale towards you. Last couple of rounds here. Lovely. And then drawing that left knee in, bend your right foot flat on the mat. Draw your right knee in as well and give both knees a hug, maybe having a little rock side to side, and come back to center. So then keeping left knee in, right foot comes flat to the mat, extending your left leg up to the side, and you can just clasp hold of the thigh if you haven't got your yoga belt there. Flexing the foot, spreading out the ball of the foot. If you've got a belt or a scarf, draw the knee in. So start from here. And push the ball of the foot away, drawing the ball of the foot towards your head as you push your heel away. And just noticing what you feel. And if your leg is straight and you do want more intensity, flex your right foot and start working that right leg straighter and straighter until you feel the intensity is the required level, the polite edge of the stretch. If you're still working this leg straight and it's not quite straight, just keep your right foot flat on the floor and keep working your heel up towards the ceiling, working the back of the pelvis down into the earth, relaxing your face and jaw, relaxing your lips, teeth and tongue. Breathing here. Maybe using your ujjayi breath. Good. And then taking your right hand to the top of the right hip and extending your left leg out to the side, just as far as is comfy to go, keeping the back of the pelvis flat on the floor. Don't let the right side pop up. With this leg that's on the ground, make sure that your knee stays aligned with your inner hip bones. And so you're not letting your knee roll in or out. Keep that nice integrity and alignment, inner hip bone, knee, and the line between the second and third toes, all aligned. Remember, if you don't have your belt, you can just use your left hand to support the thigh while you keep the right hand on top of the right hip. And keep flexing the foot, pushing out through the heel. Just experimenting with maybe extending this right leg out a little bit more to intensify the stretches that you feel. Flexed right foot. Breathe. And then drawing your left foot across the midline of the body. And so you've got this foot sort of on a plane with your hips, so you're not too far forward, not too far with the foot towards the head. I couldn't bring it there anyway. Just on this sort of plane, but you can have the knee bent and that's okay. And if the knee is bent, have your right knee bent up, right foot flat on the mat. If you can get this leg straight, then you can be working the right leg straighter. And if you haven't got your belt, just supporting the thigh with your hands. Draw your left knee in, and if you're using your belt, just let that go now. And taking your right foot, just bring it flat on the mat if it's not there already. Take your left hand to the outside edge of the left foot and press your sole of your foot up towards the ceiling, working your knee into your armpit in half happy baby. And if you want more intensity, flexing your right foot and working the right leg straight. You can keep that right hand just atop the right hip or let it rest down if you prefer. Working your left knee in towards the left armpit. Spread out the ball of the foot. Breathe. Breathe into the muscles that you feel stretching. Think of your tailbone extending down towards the foot of the mat. And then drawing this knee in, bending your right knee, right foot flat on the mat, and hug that right knee in. Have a little rock side to side. Inhaling, stirring your knees away from each other. Exhale them together. Inhale away, exhale together, and again. Aware of your nice circle of breath. Let's go the other way. Inhale, circle away. They can be big circles or small circles. Just as wide as you're comfortable to go. One more time. And then the knees come in. Bring the soles of your feet together. Thread your hands through the gap in between and grasp your ankles. So a reclined bound ankle pose. Might have a little rock side to side. Feel your tailbone descending towards the foot of the mat. Feel lots of space around the sacral area where the spine meets the pelvis. And those little rocks and mini circles will massage that area. Shoulders away from your ears, back of the neck long. Relaxed face and jaw. You can stay here, or if you want a little bit more challenge, we can come into a full happy baby. So bringing the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, working your knees towards your armpits. The tailbone presses down, so try not to let your tailbone and your bottom pop up. And again, you can have a little rock. From here, bring the soles of the feet together again and have another little rock side to side. And then close your knees together like a book and rock side to side. One at a time, bring your feet down to the floor. And then extend your legs away from you. Stretch your arms up over your head into a long, full body stretch. Stretching fingertips to toes. Try to be straight and long like a pencil, so not flaring the ribs out. Keep the back of your rib cage on the floor. Breathe, stretch fingertips to toes. Lovely full body stretch. Inhale, and on your exhalation, bring your arms down by your sides. One at a time, bend your knees, bring feet flat to the mat. Walk your feet towards your bottom, and one at a time, hug your knees back in. Have a gentle rock side to side. Roll over onto your side, use the strength of your arms to make your way up to sitting. We're coming into wide angle pose now, and you might like to use a block to sit on. So just like our other seated poses, we want to have the pelvis nice and level, not tipping backwards on the back edges of the sit bones. Have your legs out wide, just a comfortable angle for you. Knees and toes point straight up towards the ceiling. If you do find yourself rocking backwards on your sit bones, then sitting up on a block, a cushion, a thick book can help to bring the pelvis into neutral, like a bowl of water that's not spilling, and also bending your knees up can help. So you can inquire into having straight legs, but If this has caused any strain, obviously, in the inner hips, the fronts of the thighs or the back, then try bending your knees up a little bit more or sit up on something higher. Knees and toes pointing straight up towards the ceiling, so not letting the knees roll in or out. And that does take some practice to get that. And this is our wide angle pose. So we're breathing here, feeling a lovely long lengthened spine. And just a note here, if you are sitting up on a block and you do have your legs straight, just be careful that you're not locking into the backs of the knees if there's space behind them. So if you're sitting up on something quite high, it's quite easy to lock into the back of the joint. If you're sitting directly on the floor, then the earth is supporting you, so you can really straighten the legs and really engage the fronts of the thighs. But it's just something that I've seen in classes happening, where somebody's sitting up on a block and having their legs straight in this pose, but then locking into the back of the knee, because that's bad for the joint. So if in doubt, just have a little micro flex in your knees, and that will really help to engage the fronts of the thighs as well. You might like to bring thumbs to the back of your pelvis, fingertips to your inner hip bones, and inquire into tipping forward to the front edges of the sit bones. So just an inquiry. Every inhalation, you're lengthening your spine, and every exhalation, inquiring into tipping forward to feel that stretch in the inner thighs, hamstrings. Keep long, keep your heart lifted. And it is important here that your lower back is flat, so you're not tipping backwards on your sit bones. If you're kind of like that and rounding in the lower back, rounding in your shoulders, sit up on something higher, bend your knees more so that you can be centered on your sit bones, or tipping forwards like a bowl of water, like the pelvis or a bowl of water, spilling out the front, coming forward to the front edges of the sit bones, inner hip bones start pointing towards the floor. Every inhalation, lengthen, every exhalation, inquiring into tipping forward a bit more. Keep your heart open, shoulders drawing back, back of the neck long. And just over a few rounds of breath, lengthen yourself back up, right? And just coming into your comfortable cross-legged position. Just take a moment here to notice how you feel. If you're sitting on a block, take it away, so you're sitting directly on the floor. And then bringing the soles of the feet to the floor in front of you. Give your knees a hug. Walk your feet towards you. Balancing on the toes, maybe lifting your toes. Curling your forehead in cosmic egg. Having a few breaths here. Relaxed face and jaw, relaxed lips, teeth and tongue. Change the course of your arms. Notice how that feels. And then returning your feet to the floor, coming back to your cross-legged seat. Inhale, sweeping your arms around and up, bring palms to touch. And exhale, your hands down, bringing thumbs to the forehead, bowing your head. And taking a moment to thank yourself for your yoga practice today. Bring your hands to your heart center. Thank you for joining me. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here again, and remember to tell your friends and family that you're doing Cat Sara yoga. I would love to hear from you, so please do leave me a comment, and I will see you tomorrow.